This movie is gonna be controversial as fuck. I enjoyed it. Shoot me. Gladiator 2 is directed by Ridley Scott and stars Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, and Connie Nelson. It is the sequel to the 2005 Gladiator film and takes place years after Maximus' death. Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum as a vicious gladiator. He then decides to fight for his people and wants to return the glory of Rome with strength and honor. I was curious to see the new Gladiator film, but at the same time, I was extremely cautious. Ridley Scott is one of the most hit or miss directors I've ever seen. Sometimes he makes great movies, and other times his movies are just garbage. I'm a big fan of the original Gladiator. I think it's a great movie filled with wonderful performances. It's just now a classic movie, and I just adored that film. And I was one of those people that I didn't think that Gladiator 2 was super necessary, but I wasn't against it or anything. Like I was open to the idea of it if the movie was great. And like I said in the intro, I enjoyed myself with this movie. It's not better than the first movie, but it's a good and enjoyable sequel. I had a good time at the movies. At the end of the day, isn't that all that we can ask for? Just a good time at the theater, and I thought that the movie delivered on that aspect. The acting here I thought was solid all across the board. While Paul Mescal's work wasn't as strong as, like, let's say Russell Crowe, who is magnificent in the first film. Russell Crowe is one of the best actors that ever lived, so you can't really like compare both performances. Paul Mescal's performance isn't that strong as Russell Crowe, but I think that he does work in this film. Maybe you could have given him more to work with. I think that his character is a bit thinly written, but I think that the performance is solid. I like what he did with the character. I really wanted to see him succeed. I know some people didn't really get into his performance. I disagree. I thought that his performance was really strong in the movie, and I cared for him. I cared for most of these actors. I thought that Denzel Washington was by far the best part of this film. He is just a powerhouse of a performer. He really is. I thought that he was absolutely marvelous in this movie, and he's menacing. He is a calculated villain, and I really enjoyed his performance. Pedro Pascal is also terrific. Pedro Pascal I'm really a big fan of. Every time I see him, I think he's absolutely just wonderful, and here it's so different. I think that he is really great, but I would have liked to have seen more of him. I thought that he was an interesting character, an interesting part of this movie, but we don't see him enough. But I thought that he did good with the screen time that he had. Connie Nelson is really good as Pedro Pascal's wife. She has an important role in this movie, and I liked her emotional scenes. I like her chemistry with Pedro Pascal. I thought that the two worked really well together. Overall, I thought the acting was really good, except maybe for the the emperors. I thought that they were just way too over the top. I didn't think that they worked for this movie. It could have been because of the script or their direction. I just felt like they belonged in like this other movie. Like they felt almost too comedic, and they sort of took me out of the film. I wasn't really a big fan of them. They were nothing like Joaquin Phoenix in the first film, which I absolutely love. The sets and costume designs here are all fantastic. Like, I was really drawn into this movie. I was taken back to ancient Rome. I was there. I wasn't bored for any of the runtime. It's a long movie, and I was really locked in. I thought that the battle sequences were large, they were epic, and they could have lasted a bit longer, but I thought that they were really well done. And yeah, I liked all the Elysium scenes. I liked all the Gladiator stuff. I thought they were really well done. Some people say that some of this stuff was a repeat. I didn't see it. I thought that the action scenes were really exciting and they were just well shot too, like, and well presented. The execution and the story, I think that is where we get some problems. I think that the biggest flaw of this movie is its runtime. I feel like the scope and just the themes and the characters of this movie, it's not long enough for everything. This movie isn't big enough for all of it. It's not big enough to fit everything inside it, and I feel like there's an extended cut somewhere that's gonna be released like maybe a year from now, kind of like Napoleon. But Napoleon, I had no desire to watch the extended cut because I didn't like that movie. Here, I would be interested in seeing a director's cut just because I feel like there's a lot of stuff missing, because we don't have enough character motivations for some of these people. There's a lot of stuff that goes by really fast. This movie just goes by way too fast, and I think that like an extra like 30 or 40 minutes would really work into this movie's favor. Other than that, like, I think that there are some bad CGI moments. I don't think the CGI here is great, and I hate saying that about big budget film, because you clearly have the budget to do good CGI effects, but here it doesn't look all that convincing. There's a scene with animals that like looks really terrible. I was taken out of the movie for that sequence. Thankfully, there aren't a lot of like big CGI moments. I wasn't taken out of the film like too many times. The rest is mostly practical work, which is good. I enjoyed most of Gladiator 2, but yeah, I was really surprised. And people say that this movie relies too much on nostalgia. I don't really agree with that. What I would agree with is that I don't really agree with Ridley Scott how he handled Lucius' legacy. I thought that Lucius' legacy here was a bit forced in, and it didn't really need to happen. Like, it just felt forced. It didn't felt needed. The movie was good enough on its own. Like, he could have just been another Gladiator, and that could have been enough. It could have been enough for the story. But yeah, other than that, I had a good time with this movie. I thought that it was entertaining. It had good big action set pieces. And while the story is a bit messy sometimes, I just was really drawn into it, and I felt like this movie had something to say, even though it wasn't really executed perfectly all the time. Yeah, I'd give this movie a B+. I enjoyed this movie. What can I say? Like, I feel like I'm defending my opinion here because like a lot of people are trashing on this movie, but I just had a good time. I had a good time with this movie. I would see it again just because of the big special effects, big action scenes. I really enjoyed myself. So yeah, let me know what you think about Gladiator 2 down in the comments below. Please like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.
Rome must fall. I need only give it a push.
We make it out alive. Alright. Tears on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you. What is the dream of Rome?
Blood stains.
That people are not free.
Get the hell about your seats.
I was owned. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Strength and honor.
This our Rome treats heroes. Tears on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors. The gods have spoken!